Told you, all of our tools just got too small with this project. I got these super single Alcoa style wheels, and a few people commented on the last video, hey, those aren't going to fit on that truck. Sure enough, they don't fit on the truck, but you may see all this aluminum shavings on the floor. I came up with an idea, and I'm on the last part of the first trial. I got a super tight fit on these lug nuts because the aluminum rims are what's called hub-centric. This inner diameter has a flange on the hub of the truck they belong on. So the lug nuts have a big washer and they just push this plate onto the hub-centric center. The Bud style wheels that I have are lug nut centered. You can see on the other steel wheel over here, you can see how all these are tapered in, like a standard car rim you'll see. So that's the difference between these two. These don't index on the inside of the wheel rim. So I'm kind of coming up with a half and half. Because this truck isn't going to carry anywhere near the rated load for any of these parts, I feel like I can use the lug nut supported centering mechanism with the aluminum wheel. I don't think I'm taking too much material out of the aluminum wheel to provide or afford for that. What I've come up against, the holes in the rim are smaller than the lug studs, the wheel studs, and they're very, very short in comparison to what the steel wheels required. The aluminum rim has a very thick center section, and even with dual steel rims, they're not as wide as this super single tire and wheel. So what I've done right now is just wedge this into place by kicking it repeatedly. So I'm going to try to take it off and explain a little further. Because what I ended up doing was I bought a drill bit the same size. How was that for a New York accent? I bought it.
I heard it.
I bought it. I acquired a drill bit the same size as the outer wheel stud that screws on to the inner wheel stud. A little difficult in words, but you'll see. Whoa, hopefully I can get this thing off now. Because I do want a nice tight fit because it's going to be centered by the lug nuts, but man, I got this thing on. Might have to use the hammer, even though I hate to hit aluminum. Oh, there it goes. You wonder how I stay so fit. Hi-ya! Trying to wrestle these things around. Krakatoa. I'm done. No, the big car carrier truck, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Ugh. Get a wire brush. So again, to reiterate, for the amount of weight that this truck's going to be carrying, the steel wheels, there's an inner and an outer lug nut. See the square shape here? This is actually a lug nut in itself. I'll take it off and show. This was one of our holdups in doing this whole operation. I had to buy a special tool. It's a big square socket that fits that. So see that? The dually wheels, the steel wheels, the inner one slides up against this flange and then is retained by this double stud, right? So your single inner steel wheel is in here, and you tighten it down. And then your outer wheel slides over this larger diameter wheel stud. So I'm thinking to myself, why couldn't you just leave this whole arrangement here, slide the big single aluminum rim over this so that it hits the inner flange, so that it's squared up. The 10 lug bolts, you know, it's not going to have any movement this way or that way because you have all of these tapered pieces to index it. And that's where I started drilling. I got a hone and a drill bit. So on the inside of the rim, I drilled through a little bit larger, the same size as that wheel stud, and then I got another drill bit and a hone, and I accommodated this taper so that that big flange on the lug, I'll call it a stud for the sake of it, it sits flush so that this flange of the wheel butts right up against the hub. So not a perfect science. I'm working on making this fit a little bit smoother. You see it's in place, but it's super tight. So I'm slowly, out of each of the 10 holes, taking the hone, taking the taper, the ream, just trying to get it all to set just right. So you see I did take a bit of material out of this, and I'd like to hear any comments. I'm thinking, you know, if this truck was loaded to the max potential of weight, probably you'd see some fatigue through here and this inner ring would crack and separate. But I mean, look how thick this is. To carry a car on the back of this, it's nowhere near what all this is rated for. So 65 miles an hour with a fairly light load on the back. Engineers chime in, I just don't see this coming apart. Again, on the outside of the wheel, I did a little number to just set a little taper, starting it right here. So you see the marks of that washer that was on the original style lug nut. It pushed it in. So because these are a tapered sort of lug nut, it'll center there as well, but it'll be pushing against a flat backing plate. So, I mean, I'm betting it's going to work. We're going to take it a little slow in the testing phases. I welcome every comment. Because if it's just definitely like everybody chimes in, it's not going to work, stop. I got the rim for $100, right? I'll just get a proper setup. I was thinking about having a hub-centric plate mounted on this axle. My friend Marty could machine one, so it has the 10-bolt flange with an index center. Maybe it's out of aluminum or something, just to further support the inside of that rim. I'm not sure. You can see what a light taper is on that wheel lug nut, and it fits right in here. See how that's going to mount? So they match up. It's a little chewy right here because it's just in the beginning phases, but I just can't see 10 lug nuts of that size with that thickness with the minimal amount of weight we're going to use it for. I mean, that's hot rodding, right? We're going to find out. But let us know in comments. Tell me what a bad move I'm making, or hey, that just might work. Because a couple truck guys chimed in, they're like, oh, dude, that's not going to fit. You know what? It doesn't fit. They were right. We're trying some stuff out. I didn't know. Fronts are going to have the same thing, but it doesn't have the dual lug stud thing in the front. It's a single, so it'll be a little bit easier because it'll be a drill through. We're not here to talk about this anymore. What are we here to talk about? Well, we get hung up, right? We're waiting on, I got the welding wire in I needed for the bug, so we're going to get to welding on the bug body soon again. This flaming jewel project is starting to take up time. We're getting to episodes. Let us know what you think. It seems to us that the bug project is getting way more viewers than this truck project, and I don't know. I always like to spin multiple plates at the same time, so we were going to do that 41 Chevy. If you saw on the socials how the shed crashed into it and destroyed it. Our friend Dave is on his way, says he has a donor car that might help that project, but that's like off the chart right now. I thought we were going to take it over here and start doing that today. So instead, Jamie said, hey, what did you say?
I said, what about my Jeep?
What about what?
My Jeep.
Oh, that's
I've been
right.
promised a Jeep ever since we got married, pretty much.
Well.
4 blissful years ago.
You know what the good news is? So behind us is that Jeep.
Ooh.
Wanted to take a minute to talk about it because, I mean, it's cool. It's got a lot of potential, but the main thing that was holding us up on this is it's just all spare parts. It looks like it's something because it is, but it's actually two things. It's, I imagine, mid to late 40s, Willy's. It's a flat fender. I don't know what year it is. It's in reasonable condition. My friend Tom gave it to us. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
But then our friend Chris, who is really into these, he's like, yeah, man, if you need a chassis or axles, I got a bunch of stuff. So he had this chassis laying around, but it's a much later year. It's a bigger chassis. So we're going to use it because it's what we have. The front axle's bent. It has a Toyota engine in it. Some Jeep folks might know, is this a common thing? Someone put a Toyota 4-cylinder engine in this. And it appears to be bolted to the Jeep transmission through some kind of adapter. I tried to get it running the day I got it here. Definitely not going to run. It's got the freeze plugs are popped out of it, so it froze. It does turn over, but it just seems like it's in really bad shape. And Chris said, hey man, I have an engine that'll go right in that Jeep. So thusly, the project caught fire again. Well, it hasn't literally caught fire yet, but there's some energy behind it. He's getting, I don't know what year, he's going tomorrow to pick it up. So I think we're going to get into this.
Yay.
We'll see how it develops, but it's a pretty cool rig.
Yeah, I love like all the little details of it.
On the dashboard, it's got some badge, and I guess there's like a military version and a civilian version. I don't know a lot about it. I don't think that stick shift handle is military spec. But yeah, it's got a key in it. It's got a couple gauges. Pretty neat project. It's got a ton of potential.
Yeah, it's nice inside.
So this one's all you, however you're feeling. Your wish is my next project.
I've already picked out the kind of top I want.
Bikini bottom?
Bikini top.
Ah, bikini top.
I'm serious right now. No joking.
And I have a set of rims, the steel rims that should be on a Jeep like this. I bought them when we got this, so we won't have to worry about this mismatched set. And we'll get into what we're going to do about the chassis length mismatch. I think we're going to upgrade or replace the axles, one if not both. Chris said that that front one's bent. He knew the history of this Jeep and it rolled or something. So he's like, nah, dude, I have an engine. It should bolt to that transmission. And if the axles, I think we have to replace them in pairs because it's 4-wheel drive, and it will be 4-wheel drive. So the gearing will be correct as well. So yeah, it's got seat frames in it, front and back.
Yeah, the seats are nice. Even the back seat, I'm surprised for as long as it's been sitting outside.
Yeah.
Out in the back. I can see myself going to Stater Brothers.
Well, that's kind of the thing too. Now that we have our deluxe freeway vehicle, it's time to have something that we can run into town. None of our other buggies have license plates. This one won't be a fast rig.
I don't care.
It's going to have the 4-cylinder Jeep engine. I think he said it was a Go Devil engine. I don't know what year that's from, but should be a cool project. It's a little dented up. It's a little rusted up. I think we could make it work.
I do too. Time to start doing my research. I want to be part of the Jeep Club.
Well, our other friend Ian, when he saw this, he's like, "Oh no, you just don't do that, right? You don't mess up a piece like this." Because the flat fender Jeep guys, you know, there's purists of all kinds, And you know, I kind of got to agree with him. And
I don't want to like chop it or anything. I kind of want to restore it a bit.
It's good like it is. I mean,
Yeah.
it'll be custom because we're going to work on the whole under the chassis, etc., to make it, you know, work, but it will appear fairly like this, but way nicer. So we'll have the Bug, we'll have the Flaming Jewel project, and we'll have the Jeep. Possibly the Chevy.
I hope so. I hope Interceptor Dave has what we're looking for. Because that thing is cool.
Yeah.
I feel like we should go take a look at it just to give everyone a little.
I think so. And in addition, we should take a look at Little Jewel's body. Do you remember it wasn't facing that way?
Oh no! Oh my God, the wind turned it that way?
The wind blew that whole truck sideways. That's how heavy duty the gusts were.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, that's crazy. That thing was facing 90 degrees outward, and I'm glad it hit that piece of steel on the ground and didn't run into that pole.
Lord. And our dog is okay.
Blue's good. Yeah, he got a little cut, but he's coming back around. He's going to be fine. Stitches come out in 8 days.
Not soon enough. I said not soon enough.
Yeah.
Cool. So where are we going?
Well, let's follow this giant scrape in the ground. That might lead to something. This is part of the trail of where I was dragging pieces of the shed for our grand bonfire because it was a mess back here. I could not believe the strength of those wind gusts.
Yeah. This is what Ian and I do when it's cold outside, is we drive around the ranch.
It's chilly.
It's chilly.
So I've moved the trailer that the Chevy was sitting on because I did the cleanup, but you'll see it's definitely a traumatic sight.
Holy smokes.
It's hard to look at, but here we are looking at it. Doesn't look like the project that was delivered, does it?
No. Oh my gosh, that's such a shame.
A couple people said, man, you could push that thing right out, port of power, etc. Yeah, I mean, everything's fixable, but look at this. This is majorly compromised. So the roof, the entire roof and wall of the shed took flight and hammered down on this in this front 3/4 position and creased this down bad. So A-pillar is moved rearward and tucked in. It hit the cowl here as well, and this took a shot. So this door gap here is messy. So it pushed the whole windshield back, and oh man, like the structure, the inside.
Yeah, it was so perfect.
Oh, it was straight. So the firewall seems to be reasonably in position, but it took a hit here as well. So everything from this point up is pushed down and folded back a little. I mean, not a huge catastrophe. It's not like a rollover accident where the whole thing is buckled, but that's a big hit. It's just pretty.
Well, hopefully Interceptor Dave.
Yeah.
Got something cool for us.
He showed me some pictures. I mean, they look, if not identical, they're darn close. This one has the real, I love this roof and the side windows with the B-pillar slanted. So he has the sedan version, and it's not as, in my opinion, good looking in the rear, but I'm hoping, because of course I want to chop this, etc., but it is just so creased right here. It's just a nasty fold in the steel.
Yeah.
Look at this.
That's wild.
It's folded over itself. Wham! So to straighten this out, sure, everything's fixable, but imagine if we had another car that had all this intact and I could just set it in. And again, it's like a death in the family, right? I wasn't planning for this. I thought we were going to live happily ever after. And here we are. This is some news. So we're going to mess around with that Jeep in the interim.